Okay. The meeting of the Wayne County Committee on Ways and Means Budget Hearing will now convene. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Scott,
Present.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Marecki,
Here.
Commissioner Kaminsky,
Present.
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Vice Chair Baydoun,
Here.
Chair Kinlock.
Present.
We have a quorum present.
Next item.
Item B, Chair's remarks.
Under Chair's remarks, as you can see, we have a full house here today. And what I wanted to start off by saying, item number 4 that's listed on the agenda is only a discussion item. No action is being taken today. The parties requested to appear before this committee. They are being allowed to address this committee only for a discussion, no action. I want to make that clear. No action also will be taken on this matter until Wayne County Commission staff and the administration has had an opportunity to thoroughly review this proposal as it relates to this resolution and to bring forward a recommendation for this body to consider. So I want to make that very clear. No action today. Due diligence, we're still in the due diligence phase, and nothing will be taken until both the commission staff and the administration feel comfortable in bringing an item forward. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item C, approval of the minutes from the August 6, 2026 meeting.
So moved. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item.
We're now moving to new business item number 4, discussion regarding the project Canoli Enterprise Data Center in Van Buren Township.
Okay, so who's here to speak to this? Okay, the parties who are, and we absolutely want to make sure that we hear from the principals if they have representatives here from Google.
Where do we go? Sign in.
Okay, so our former colleague, whose community where this is most impacted and that brought this item before us, I will recognize you for the purpose of beginning your comments and introducing us to the other parties who are here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. It's really good to be back, and it's old school sitting at this table again. All right, my name is Kevin McNamara. I'm currently the supervisor in Van Buren Township, which is the host site for the proposed Google data center. I have comments that I've made copies of just because there's going to be so much stuff that I figured maybe you want to review back. But I want to begin by stating that this meeting is not about the question of whether we should allow data centers into Wayne County. The state of Michigan's laws are very clear on this issue. Data centers are a legal business, and property owners that buy and sell industrial property have a right to sell their property to legal conforming businesses. So people that say just no to data centers, it's not going to fly because the state of Michigan's got laws, and we've seen what happened in Saline and now with Wixom. The lawsuits will fly, and they'll be very short. Van Buren Township is currently home to 2 data centers, and one of them is one of the largest data centers in the state of Michigan. They've operated for over 15 years and are quiet, clean, and impeccably maintained. They're beautiful. They're surrounded by residents, and we have never, ever, ever had a complaint about noise or anything from the community on either one of these data centers. Because of this, in 2018, we did our master plan rezoning. We held community forums, and we actually did surveys. We put little QWERTY codes on bars and restaurants and community centers, and people walk up and do their iPhone, and then they check out, and they tell people what we wanted in our community with data centers. We had 800 responses. Data centers were in that survey, and it was recommended that they go into industrial zones, which is the highest form of land use. Auto plants and things like that would go into industrial zones. And because that, they're called a conforming land use in industrial zones. In state of Michigan zoning law, conforming land use means we don't have a choice. It'd be like you buying a house in a residential subdivision or a plot and wanting to build a house. And if the community came in and said, you can't build a house in that subdivision, it's just against the law. So you're going to lose real quick, which, again, like they did in Saline. This zoning thing, it protects the community. It allows us to put data centers where we believe that they should go. It also, because zoning law protects the rights of the landowners, it also guarantees that the owners of the land can sell to an industrial person. They pay a premium on that, and it protects the landowner's rights. Of course, this data center of the 2018 that we had dreamed of was not the data center of the 2026. So the question becomes, how do you ensure protection of the community and reduce the impact to the community of a data center of 2026? And you do that through a negotiated PA 198. A PA 198 basically says that if they do certain things, then we will let them have 50% of their taxes. Now, the reason you really want to do this is usually jobs, but example would be, this is a cornfield. We make about the same amount of taxes as you do. About $13,000 on that cornfield goes to Van Buren, $13,000 goes to Wayne County-ish. I think it's going to jump to about 1.6 million. So it's even with the 50% off thing. So the PA 98 to the state of Michigan is a job creator. Nearly 2,000 union jobs will be used on this, and it'll be a $2 billion project. Almost 90% or more of it is Wayne County contractors of that. $1.9 billion is Wayne County contractors on this site. The taxes will increase, as you will see and hear later. But to the communities, to Van Buren Township, it's not what it's about. The PA 198 creates balance in our community between building a basic, no-frills data center and building a state-of-the-art, quiet, clean, low-impact data center that the community can be proud of. The specific PA 198, this one, provides a mechanism to build something that fits the community. We can fit the community, we can reduce the negative impact on the community, and it allows for enforcement actions to maintain that impact. You need enforcement of this thing, and our $150 ordinance tickets are not going to slow anybody down, but this will. One of the ways it reduces impact, when you build into the PA 198, there are two agreements in this thing that state what must happen for the data center to get their tax incentives. There's a community benefits agreement and there's a developmental agreement. The community receives in return, and we get all that, the community benefit agreement, and we get the developmental agreement, which provides protection for our community. They get a tax reduction. The tax abatements are not gifts. These are not gifts. The data center is encountering a lot of additional costs and responsibilities to get these. Van Buren Township has negotiated a noise and a landscape package. We have 15-foot high berms with 14-foot high trees that will be initially planted that will grow 30 feet high. We have 8 shrubs in between with a beautiful white wooden fence. We have a sidewalk. We have reduced lighting. We have winding roads access so that you can't even look down the way. And the access is only, you can only get into this facility through non-residential areas. It's a $30 million landscape package to make this, to beautify this. No one should ever even see the data center when this is built. Van Buren and myself, a lot of my trustees and board members have traveled to other data centers around the Midwest. When we walked through them, we found next generation cooling towers. Cooling towers are one of the biggest noise creators of a data center. One was called the Marley Ultra Quiet. It is next generation, it's very expensive. They're written into this agreement that they're going to have the quiet cooling towers, probably over $10 million to do that upgrade. Generators cause a lot of noise. The data center requested 150 generators to maintain operating during a power outage. They've agreed to reduce that under this agreement to 24, and they will cease operation within a few hours after power interruption. That's part of this agreement. We have in this agreement a water cost guarantee. We heard it from from people that water was going to go up. We have it in our agreement that if the data center causes an increase to residential water rates, Google will pay the difference. So we're protected under this agreement. We have negotiated wildlife corridors, truck traffic away from residential areas, no open holding ponds for water, interior site sound walls, no groundwater usage, limited discharge capacity, and they have on and off-site containment cells, which are not the open ponds. These are all contained. This is all part of the 198 agreement that you're looking at. One of the most important things, though, is enforcement action. The one thing, and Senator Scott said it right off, who's going to watch them when they start operating? The one thing that no one talks about in a PA 198 is that it gives the community, Van Buren Township, and the county in this case, the ability to enforce the ordinances of the community. A naysayer would say, and it's agreement, but they won't follow it once they're up and operating. They must follow the parameters of the PA 198 or they lose the 198. Quiet is the biggest concern across our community. They're allowed to operate at 65 decibels at their property line. I've just bought a brand new Amana air conditioning unit. It was efficient. It runs at 60 decibels. I almost never hear this. If the data center without the PA 198, if you don't pass the PA 198, is exceeding those decibels, Van Buren can go out there and write an ordinance ticket. The fine on an ordinance ticket is about $150 to $500. They perhaps would just pay the ticket and not fix the problem. But with the PA 198, if the data center does not fix the problem, we will petition for the elimination of the tax abatement. So $150 may or may not mean that they'll fix the problem. But against the loss of $100 million, the data center will fix the problem for $100 million. So without the PA 198, we really don't have an enforcement action that's strong. This is the first data center. This is the very first data center in the entire state of Michigan that went through the entire community process, beginning to end. Saline Township's the only other one that's even close as far along, and they said no at the beginning of it, knowing it was against the law, and they got sued, and in less than a month, they got creamed with a court-ordered consent decree that took away the community's negotiating process. The courts decided what the agreement would look like. Example, they got $8 million for a full-time fire department. They have 2,500 residents. They were fine with their part-time fire department, but if they're going to have a data center, they needed a full-time. So the court gave them part of their community benefits agreement was $8 million to build a full-time fire department that they now have to maintain forever because they've got a data center. I mean, but the courts made all those decisions. They lost public hearings, they lost their workshops, they lost their reviews, they lost their negotiations, everything that we had to go through for 6 months. And it was painful. It was really tough to get yelled at for 6 months. No, say no to the data center, say no to the data center, knowing full well that you can't say no because they're conforming use to industrial property. So, but we did listen, everything, and we made a frequently asked questions sheet of every question that was asked. We researched it, we put it online. It's being used across the country now by communities. It is one of the best out there. Our planning director is now being asked to go speak on forums all across the Midwest because we basically listened and heard them. And a lot of what they said made sense. I mean, the water rate usage, there is a potential way that a data center could cause water rates to go up. So we wrote it into our agreement that if it go up, you got to pay for it. So they will as part of the PA 198. We have the only community negotiated agreement out there, and it's the Community Benefits Agreement and the Developmental Agreement, and they are no good unless they're attached to a PA 198 because they gave up tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. They wanted something for it. That's the way it is. Without the community's acknowledgement of the Van Buren's PA 198 agreement, this data center could still be built. but it also probably will not be the data center that we want. We want one that's clean, quiet, and we want one that's an asset to our community. I urge you to acknowledge our PA 198 so we can build something that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. You hit 1 minute and 30 seconds left. That's good. Okay,
How long did I have?
thank you. Okay, so now would like to hear from I guess get an introduction from the other individuals who are joining us today.
Hey, good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Ford Graham. I'm with McGuire Woods Consulting, and I'm supporting the Google team, Project Cannoli.
Good morning. I'm Chris Thorne, Vice President of Development with Panattoni.
I'm Adam Kramer, President of Data Centers for Panattoni. We're the developers who will actually be building this project and following the PA 198 guidelines for construction.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. My name is Nathan Regan. I'm with Economic Development at Google.
Okay, so you're here, right? So you're authorized to be able to have conversations with the County of Wayne as it relates to any sort of community benefit or any other terms that the county would like to have addressed.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so you can begin making a presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, for the opportunity to be here today. I will be referencing the presentation I think you have a hard copy of, but for those who are following online, is up here. Again, one second. I think we can be in presentation mode.
And for the record, you have 10 minutes.
Oh, can we pause while we get the technical?
Oh, absolutely. We're not counting now.
Oh,
Once you begin, right, the clock hasn't started.
all right, I appreciate that very much. I'm going to set my own little timer here, so if it goes off.
Oh, and next slide.
Okay, next slide, please. So thank you again for the opportunity to be here. What you were looking at on this slide, this is an aerial overview of the data center site. And so just for context, the freeway is 94 and Haggerty Road is on kind of the bottom left of the screen running what would be north-south going on there. And that is an overview of the site. And one of the things I'll touch on here as we go through this is the amount of land that is being preserved specifically for the items that Supervisor McNamara called out. Next slide, please. So a few of the key things about this project. Project Cannoli has received our preliminary site plan approval from Van Buren Township for this campus. And we have all of the utility infrastructure is permitted by use under the current zoning. And I think an important piece of why Google is here is that the recently passed sales and use tax incentive from the state of Michigan was an attractive piece to bring this level of investment here. Next slide, please. And one of the things I would point out is unlike other projects like Saline, where that site is being leased, this site will be owned and operated by Google, which is representing a generational level of investment directly by Google into Wayne County and to the state of Michigan. A little bit about Panattoni. We will be, as I mentioned, building the project, and I'm going to go super fast so I can get 10 minutes in here. But as we cover this, Panattoni, our data center team, we're the family-owned business, but we are the largest private industrial developer in the world. We have over 100 years of experience through our executive team on building data centers and are building multiple gigawatts of data centers across North America and across the world. Next slide, please. So before we get any further, I do want to answer the question, what is a data center, right? A data center is just a high-tech warehouse to support the internet. Everything we do online, Zooming the Zoom for this meeting, your emails, your traffic, everything, every web search you do, every Google search you do is going through a data center. But equally important, and something that I really hope is clear here, is that when you look at how these data centers are positioned, it's also to support industry. And there's no more important industry here, Southeast Michigan, than the automotive industry, which is now becoming a tech industry. It is utilizing infrastructure like this for the future of mobility. It is a critical piece of what's happening here. And there is a reason why clients want to be in Southeast Michigan, and is to support the continued growth and work that is happening here already for the last 100 years. Next slide, please.
Thank you.
So next thing I want to do is kind of talk about, for those of you who are familiar with the traditional logistics or industrial park, what's the difference between that and a data center? A traditional industrial facility, and we build a lot, as I mentioned, they have a lot of truck traffic. They have large employee shifts and parking demands. They have a potential for product waste and emissions with manufacturing, and I think we're all familiar with what that can mean. Continuous movement of goods. And their infrastructure demand is tied to transportation. This is one of the things that the supervisor in our early meetings with him made very clear, is he did not want more logistics out there, because we looked at this for both logistics or data center, and this was the preference. But what is a data center and what are the benefits? Is minimal daily traffic as we are operational. A small, highly skilled operational workforce. And that is one of the things that's very attractive about being here. Lots of operations, lots of skilled labor, and the ability to partner with Wayne County community colleges, with Wayne State, and being able to continue to build. And that openness has been important. No manufacturing emissions or production waste. It is quiet, controlled operations. And the tax revenue per employee is 3 to 5 times that of traditional industry. And if you think of it this way, when we talk about the tax revenue, next slide, please. We'll talk about this in a moment, but this project will be the largest taxpayer in Van Buren Township and one of the largest taxpayers in Wayne County, even with the tax abatements, but with a fraction of the employees you see at the other top ones, because they're manufacturing, which means the tax revenue per employee is a net benefit to this community and to this county to be able to use onto other services to support other people in the community. Here's a project overview, and as Supervisor McNamara mentioned, this is consistent with the existing zoning, which explicitly calls data center by right. This is a proposed data center for Google that will be owned and operated by them. And I can't overstate how important that is. That is a meaningful difference than having a co-location or something that is being, owned by a third party and leased to them. This is their investment into this county. And we have one of the community adjustments, next slide, please, is that our primary access is coming off of I-94 service road, not off of Haggerty, to not add additional congestion for this project. And again, something we've worked really closely with the township on. Additional economic benefits. During construction, it's going to employ 2,500 construction jobs, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. And we will have a project labor agreement. In fact, in the room with us is a number, if you would raise your hands, please, of union members who are representing different trades that will be working on this. This will have a project labor agreement. These will be the people building it for us. And Walbridge, whose office I think is that way, is our general contractor. When we talk about our commitment to Wayne County, we're putting our money where our mouth is when we show you this project. Part of that also is we've made a commitment to Supervisor McNamara, again, part of PA 198, 5% of the construction will go through Van Buren Company. So you'll see all of this being able to happen here, but see this investment staying local. And we'll be having local job fairs, both for construction jobs as well as job fairs for the permanent jobs that will be here in Wayne County as we continue to go forward. Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. Next slide.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So talking about some of the impacts, sorry, we're just trying to keep on our 10 minutes here. So we're running tight.
No, I'll let you know. I have it timed here.
I know. Thank you. So as I mentioned, Walbridge will be our general contractor on this project. And in addition to being local, they are one of the largest data center builders in the United States. So being able to have that local expertise here, this is not, this is because they are the right people for this project. And one of the other important pieces is also training a workforce. If you look at stats, we're going to be short by 2030, 2 million skilled laborers for construction. So part of the commitment from Panattoni, Walbridge, and Google is also to continue to train the next generation of workforce. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen the salaries that people are getting on these projects here. These are 6-figure salaries. We have people working as electrician making $200,000 plus a year working on these projects, working in concrete. I mean, these are good jobs. It's the reason why we partner with our trade laborers here, is that these are good businesses, good jobs, but we're also making sure to train the next generation. Google has committed $10 million to a Michigan Energy Impact Fund that will very, very strongly be felt throughout Wayne County, not just Van Buren Township. It will be felt throughout Wayne County, this $10 million investment. Continued investment in K through 12 education, robotics, and workforce development, and supporting things like FIRST Robotics. And then Google has publicly committed to 2.7 gigawatts of additional clean energy. Next slide, please. I'm going to go really quick. This is just an overview. If we
You have another 14 minutes after reviewing your presentation. You have another 14 minutes.
all right. I'll breathe now. I'll breathe. Thank you very much. All right. I'll be good now. So this is a slide we had Wallbridge put together here. They've already reached out to the local vendors we would use, and not to correct you, Supervisor, we're up to $2.4 billion of local contract Wayne County businesses, that $2.4 billion that will be working on this project. And that represents 2,400 people in Wayne County that will be working on this project, or 9.8 million labor hours for this project. This is significant investment, and again, demonstrates our commitment. And the dots that you see on there show you where the building trades offices are, the local companies we're hiring are, and where Wallbridge projects are for this project. Next slide, please. So here's what the site plan looks like. This is a little bit more detailed than the initial aerial that I showed you. It's a 5-building campus. 3 of those buildings are data centers. The other buildings are, one is a network building, one is an office building. And then you'll see off of Haggerty Road, the ITC switching station that will be located there. A couple of the other key pieces I want to focus on is that 45% of the site, 127 acres, is going to remain untouched. And we have just come to an agreement with Eagle that 25% of the total property will be put into a conservation easement, which means it'll be permanently in conservation. So when we talk about being sustainable and about doing and building the right way, we're putting, again, I keep saying, putting our money in where our mouth is. And we are preserving 8,100 trees and going to be planting another 2,100 trees. And as Supervisor McNamara pointed out, many of those trees will be on top of the berm that we're building. There's an 8 to 15-foot berm around the property to prevent any direct line of sight into the project. So if you've been by this property, if you have time after today, I'd tell you to drive by it and look at it today. And then we'll look at the renderings we have. We do think that this is, we're doing a lot to help beautify the location and make this very attractive. Next slide, please. This is another important point that Supervisor McNamara touched upon, which is we worked with the township, and what was important for them and for residents was making sure that the natural wildlife that moves through this property today can continue to. So instead of doing a perimeter fence around the entirety of the project, which is the standard for our client here, what we did is we've isolated the fence to be just around the buildings and roads, so that way we can maintain natural wildlife movement throughout the property. Next slide. So what are the changes? And Supervisor touched on this, is we've had a number, not just public hearings, we've had a number of public meetings where we've had open houses, we've had town halls, we've engaged with the community and Chris Thorne has led a lot of this over almost 24 months, right? This isn't a project that's just coming out of the ground. This is something we spent a lot of time and thought on in working and taking feedback. And so those things include the noise study. All of the things I should mention are captured inside of the PA 198 agreement that we are agreeing to obligate ourselves to. The site layout, buffering, berms and mature trees, the site access being relocated from Haggerty to reduce residential impact, sidewalks. There's not sidewalks. We're going to do sidewalks on both sides of the road to be able to support this project here. And we, next slide, please. Have also focused on making sure that the access points don't have any direct line of sight. And I'll show you that in a moment. But this is the conservation easement that I just spoke about. This is going to be under agreement with Eagle here. And this conservation easement shows you where that 25% of the property is that will be in a permanent conservation easement. And not only is this, again, supporting wildlife and nature, but those trees that are along 94, if you drive along there and you see that you have these 50, 100-foot tall trees there, those are already natural buffer that are indigenous to that area that will stay. It will create natural sound barrier. It will support natural wildlife that's already there. And we're not touching that. We're going to conserve that as we go forward. Next slide, please. This is what the landscaping looks like. The top two slides touch on the point I was making earlier and Supervisor McNamara referenced. The top left is Haggerty Road. That's the entrance to that big substation, the switching station for ITC. Originally, it was going to be a direct access off the road, and it doesn't need to be accessed often, right? It's just maintenance. But what we did is we put a berm and then we wrapped a road around around the berm so that the substation would be hidden behind the berm as well as the access. So it's not seen from the road. And then the top right is the primary entrance to the facility. As you can see, we're continuing to utilize the existing natural buffer and land area, but then have built a road. The security entrance is back a little bit and veer to the left in order to kind of hide that presence. The bottom here, also captured in our PA 198, is bottom left is the office building. It is using a brick facade. So we're using pre-engineered metal building, but it's actually a brick facade. We had brought samples in for the township with like actual brick on top of the metal. It's pretty impressive. And then to the right is the data center. The feedback we got was we don't want big gray buildings. That's not acceptable to us. And so we worked with the township on a color scheme and formatting they want. So you'll see natural brick in there along with the white and blue and trying to create some aesthetics that even though this won't be seen by the community, still meets the community standards as if it were. Next slide, please. Water, sound, and environment. We talked about our water use. We've worked with GLEWA to give you a totality of the impact. The total water use of this project represents 0.03% of GLEWA's excess capacity it has today. 0.03% of the excess capacity GLEWA has today. So this is not a large water user. The backup generators, in addition to being reduced to the actual building code minimum, we had to have them by law because of building code for life safety. They're also tier 4 generators, which is the highest standard. So that means that they're lowest emissions and lowest sound producing. And we're incorporating construction waste consistent with LEED practices. Next slide, please. And I'll go through this. This just captures everything we talked about here with the jobs, taxpayer, energy impact fund, and what the taxes mean. But I'm going to hand it over now to Ford Graham with McGuire Woods representing Google.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. So again, I appreciate your time and I apologize for not looking at you. I'm going to look at the screen here, so forgive me. I want to start with this slide. We did an analysis based on an estimated $2 billion of private investment and including the PA 198. We do think that the project will end up being more than $2 billion, but based on that $2 billion, I broke out the millage rates for Wayne County for the county summer, county winter, jail and parks. And it's about $25 million in property tax revenues over the next 13 years. For Van Buren Township, it's about $23 million in new tax revenues over the next 13 years. And for the public schools, about 26. So if you look across all of the taxing jurisdictions that are impacted by this project, it represents about $113 million in new taxes over the next 13 years. Next slide, please. And this just shows how we came up with that calculation, estimated value of the land. It currently generates, just so you know, that site currently generates about $65,000 total in property taxes across all taxing jurisdictions. But again, roughly 1.45 million square feet at about $105 per square foot, the estimated value, and then of course roughly $2 billion in computer equipment that goes inside of the building. Next slide, please. I'm trying to talk fast as well. So I broke it down on a year-by-year basis. I know it's a little hard to see, but essentially I've taken the county, the winter, the summer, the jail, and the parks winter, and over on the right is the total per year. And what you'll see is that oh, can you go back, please? One more. There we go. So you can see in year one, I can't quite see it from here, but a little over $1 million. In year two, a little over $2 million. And then it slowly goes down over time. And that's based on the depreciation of the equipment. It's like the equipment is analogous to the old computers you used to have on your desktop that, after a couple of years, you've got to replace them because they're just getting too old and slow. And so that's why it spikes in year 7, because the old equipment that has been depreciated is then replaced with new equipment. And so the cycle begins again. And then after year 12, so in year 13, the real property comes off the tax rolls. And that's why you see the jump off the PA 198 treatment. And that's why you see the jump to $3 million. Next slide, please. Again, the client was looking across the country to see what's the best location for them. And so for them, the sales and use tax exemption was very important. It's what brought them to the table to then be able to negotiate and talk with Van Buren Township, and of course, for the greater benefit of Wayne County. Next slide, please. And like I mentioned, it's very competitive. This slide shows the blue shows states that have a sales and use tax exemption for data centers. And so again, it's why it's on the list to begin with. Next slide, please. This slide, I wanted to show you, these are some of the other types of industries that receive sales and use tax exemptions in Michigan. Obviously, manufacturing, industrial, you can read these: agricultural, aviation, electric and gas utilities. Next slide, please. One more slide back, please. So the SUT exemption is a state level program, but beginning January 1st, 2026, the law was adjusted such that even though Van Buren Township has passed unanimously the PA 198, we also need a resolution from the county saying we're okay with this PA 198. That's not the traditional process. Usually the counties are not involved with the PA 198 process. But for us to take advantage of the sales and use tax, we need that resolution or we're asking for that resolution respectively of the commission here today. Next slide, please. And so this just shows you the process. Again, the PA 198 was approved by Van Buren Township. We have submitted our sales and use tax exemption to MEDC. And what we'd like now is a county resolution saying we acknowledge and we approve of the PA 198. And then finally, the Michigan Strategic Fund will review, MEDC will review, and hopefully approve that certification. Thank you. Next slide, please. And then I'll turn it back over to Adam.
So with 3 seconds left, I'll say thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. And if approved, we would love the opportunity to continue to build and support not just the workforce and all of those construction jobs here, but support other industries here in this community that rely on this technology infrastructure for their growth and their expansion.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. I would be remiss if I did not also recognize other individuals who are not normally sitting at this table or who are at this meeting as well. Our chair, Alicia Bell, she's joining us this afternoon, as well as our Wayne County Executive, Warren C. Evans, who's joining us as well. And so at this time, I will now go to questions from committee members and guest commissioners who are attending this meeting. Without objection, we will limit questions in this part for 20 minutes, total of 20 minutes. And at this time, are there any questions from any commissioners? Commissioner Anderson, any other commissioners, please let me know. Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna start off. Let me start off with Commissioner Wilson. Chair, Mr. Commissioner Wilson, this is your district, so let's start with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I guess first and foremost, we all recognize clearly that data centers are en route. They're coming, and they're coming very, very fast. The only thing that I have to say here is that we all have to get in front of this advent of data centers. So quickly, I want to just say there's a recent study that talked about AI development. Is it good or bad for society? And this looks like a nonpartisan resolve. 70% of Americans saying that AI is bad for society. 74% Democrats, 63% GOP. And if you go a little bit further, it says Americans on building AI data centers. They're saying that the communities are very alarmed because the data centers are slow to address local concerns, and that's 72%. Final tally here poll says that the individuals that are opposed to building data centers in an area, again, just to reiterate, 76% Dems are opposed, 60% GOP, 63% urban, and 75% rural. So I say all that to say this. It's an uphill challenge to convince our communities that data centers are actually good for them. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most to any county, is to have your citizens engaged, to have them participatory, and to have them understand and be educated about data centers. Right now, they look at data centers as the boogeyman because they don't have enough information about it. And just to close, I was, fortunate to get blessed to get elected in this district as a commissioner. Since that time, got detention centers on my corner block, got toxic waste dumps down the street. So for my role as a commissioner, I've been inundated with serious challenges. And I say I'm very fortunate to have a team in terms of Wayne County to be able to assist in trying to navigate through these very difficult crisis moments. So this in and of itself presents another crisis moment. And I love McNamara. He's my guy. He's doing a great job out there, I think, as the supervisor. But from my perspective, I know this is coming. So I want to just make sure that the citizens are cognizant. And that's the big issue. I'm telling you, when I go and talk to the township leadership, I talk to the community activists, they're concerned that they're not getting the information that they need. And that was an excellent presentation, sir. I appreciate that. Very well done. But again, electricity, I think you touched on that. People are concerned that their electricity rates are gonna skyrocket. Their water usage, I guess these things are gonna use over 2 million households worth of water is that's what the estimates are. And I understand what you're saying. The noise decibel, I think normal is between 55 and 65 decibels, I believe it is. They're afraid that it's going to exceed that based on some of the actions that have happened in our state with other townships that have sued because the noise levels are too high. Environmental concerns, I think you addressed that when you talked about the fencing and the conservation. That's a great, I think that's a great start. So again, I say all that to say this. We've got to be transparent. We've got to be it's got to be like a blanket transparency in order to get people to understand that this is not the boogeyman, that it's actually going to be something that's beneficial. And to close, community benefits, that's a key. I saw $25 million over 13 years for the county with parks and a few other things. But when you talk about a $2.5 billion investment, I believe it is, and you talk about the millions of dollars that are going to be engaged, $25 million, I think that's standard. I think it is. It's a standard $25 million over the 13 years. I think I read here for the community benefits. But again, I have to emphasize again, as the commissioner in that area, the people going to come to me. They're not going to come to you. They're not going to come to anybody. They're going to say, "Where's the commissioner? Where's he stand on this?" And I want to make sure when I'm standing, that I'm standing on facts. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate the time. And if you want to expound, that would be great.
Thank you. Okay, you can respond and then.
I'll be very quick. And I'd say, Commissioner, I think your concerns are very valid. And what we've done is not only be transparent, but I think that at the end of the day, the gap is this, it's trust. There's a trust gap. We've been very forthright and have addressed every one of those concerns openly. And this is as much why we want to engage in the PA 198 as anything, is because this is now making it we want to demonstrate the level of seriousness that our client and Panattoni under the development take in regards to this. And we want to put that there because without that, there are no teeth, right? And it just becomes trust. This is a way of trust but verify. That's really what PA 198 is doing here, is trust but verify. And if there's any additional concerns, please let us know. But we, as the supervisor mentioned, have an FAQ website. We'll do media interviews. We talk to the community. We've done town halls. So we will continue to do that. And we hear your concerns very clearly, sir.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. And
Just real quickly,
Okay.
PA 198s are also called carrot and sticks. And that's what we actually call them because we're basically offering them a carrot, but we're holding the stick. If they screw up, we're going to hit them with it.
Okay, so yes,
Thank you, Brother Chair. I appreciate it. And just a final comment, back in April, the current president of the United States signed an executive order to sort of fast track data centers, to go through, to kind of fast track through the permit process, the zoning processes. So having said that, it also was noted that he invested $100 million in certain data center companies. So again, the optics, people see that, they're like, okay, this guy's involved now. It must not be all good. So again, that's something we have to, what you're trying to do, we have to make sure you understand all of the dynamics that are going on in the community. That's going to make it, sometimes makes it a little more difficult to kind of push the objective here.
And for the record, all the zoning, permitting has gone either through Van Buren Township, Wayne County, or the state of Michigan. There's been no federal involvement in any of the work that we've done here.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Chair Bell.
Thank you, and I'll be brief. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to sit in and ask a question at your meeting. I'm Alicia Bell, Chair of the Wayne County Commission. Thank you all for your thorough presentation today. Hello, Supervisor McNamara. Great to see you. Thank you for your thorough presentation. The information that you shared with the environmental impact and the economic impact is very good to see that on paper. One quick question. And the labor, I'm glad to see labor here and labor representative as well, because it does take everyone in all partnerships to work collaboratively to get something like this done. Earlier this year, we had our Tri-County Summit with Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne County, and we brought in a young man who's a supervisor in Virginia. As you all know, Virginia is ground zero with data centers. So he talked about what they wish they had known up to this point and the things that they would change knowing what they know now. So you addressed a lot of those issues that were of grave concern to me. One quick question in regards to employment after it's built. I know we'll have a lot of construction jobs on site, but after that piece is done, what does the employment look like after the construction is over?
Yeah, so we'll have it. Would you like to answer?
If you don't get it right,
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So we'll have at least 51 permanent jobs, likely more, but those are extremely well-paying jobs.
Yeah, and I would say, so again, I'm in economic development. My goal is to make sure that our investments from an economic impact perspective are valuable to our economic development partners and community. But I've taken an analysis of our portfolio, and in all of our portfolio, we've met and exceeded our job commitments and investment goals. And if you take a look at some of our portfolio in, say, Alabama or Georgia, we have hundreds of jobs, full-time Google jobs. Given the right amount of time and circumstances, we're able to grow that job number pretty significantly, and that means jobs for local folks in VBT and Wayne County.
And I got to add, Van Buren is a beautiful place to live. We sit on 2 freeways, lots of exits. We're a community of 2-lane roads. We are the perfect place to put a trucking and logistics place. We don't want any more trucking. They're destroying our roads, and we're 2-lane roads. We love the fact that these guys don't do trucking, and they do. And there are life-changing contracts for local contractors because they do 20, 30, $40 million worth of upgrades every year to local contractors. So there's a lot more jobs than that.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We look forward to vetting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Commissioner, Glenn Anderson, right? Commissioner Anderson, then Commissioner Baker McCormick, and then we'll go down this way. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the chair asked one of the questions that I had is the permanent jobs. And so that was a concern that I'd heard and wanted to ask, and I appreciate the answer to that. But I also wanted to know what happens after year 13. So the benefits of the tax revenue, my understanding is it pretty much disappears after that time?
On the real property, so on the building itself, after 6 or 7 years, when the equipment is refreshed, we would be seeking new PA 198 for that equipment so that it's stabilized. But it's another 10-year to 12-year cycle.
Okay. I guess that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Commissioner Baker McCormick, and then
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Beto, and then I'll hop back over here. Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you all for being here today. Data centers is definitely a hot topic, right? So transparency, I think Commissioner Wilson really talked to that, but I wanted to be clear as to what community forums or outreach that you actually had over the last 2 years. What did they look like and how many residents attended? Because this is going to be in your community.
Sure.
And I don't want to infringe on what the residents want.
Sure. It started out hell. Okay. We began with workshops where we basically just brought in the data center groups to teach people what the data centers were, what they're looking at, where they're looking at going. Probably 250 people showed up. I'd say probably 240 of them were angry. Okay. As they learned about it, the numbers dissipated slowly but surely. Near the end, when it came down to site plan approval, maybe 20 or 30 showed up, and maybe 20 or 30 union people showed up. I just talked to a state rep who walked the subdivision right next to this. We've been doing outreach every 2 weeks at every single board meeting, every single planning commission, and we stay there as long as they are there. There's only maybe 10 or so that show up at these things now, maybe 15. But I guess the most telling thing is that the state rep that walked the community that's right next to this knocked on doors, and as you know, most people don't answer doors. So 56 doors did answer. They were all asked. Only one of them had a concern with the data center. We've been doing as much outreach as we possibly can do on this. We are not ducking any questions. We listen to them all. We take them all seriously, and we write them down and we post them.
Right.
And in 2 years I run again, and I know that if this thing is not quiet and it is not running very well, I'm going bye-bye. I'm betting that much on the fact that we can build something we can be proud of. It's up to you now, though, because the good stuff's tied to what you're looking at.
Right. All right. Thank you for that. So what's the distance though from the neighborhood? What's the like as far as
so we pushed them all in, but go ahead.
yeah.
Can I just add something really quickly? The community outreach that we've seen Panattoni do in this community is a model for us. We've taken sort of their best practices, what I consider to be best practices in community outreach, and we're using those in other locations around the country because it's been so thorough. Chris has just been an excellent partner. I think most of the residents in Van Buren Township know Chris, and what they have done, at least from a community engagement perspective, I think is really a best practice from my opinion. So
There's a hardcore group that is still angry, but
Is that
I can't ever make them happy.
right? I get that. That it's always going to be a few or some. How close is it though to a residential neighborhood? Like a mile,
No.
less than that, or how?
There's a subdivision across Haggerty. So we had them push their buildings in, and we had them take their cooling towers, part of the PA 198, put them on the far side, put special soundproofing walls, move the generators away from the roads, put in the big 15-foot high burbs, put additional sound in. Those all have to be Merley ultra quiets because I walked a data center and I could hear the cooling towers, and I walked up next to this one. I thought, well, this one's not running. They said, oh no, that's the new Merley ultra quiet. We're testing this, and then we found it worked great. So that was the first thing we asked for. They have to put Merley ultra quiets in there because they're so quiet.
But how far is it from the community?
150 feet into your property, so another 100, 200 feet. So I'm guessing 550, 600 feet.
Okay. Last question. When you talk about water rates, regular increases versus data pauses, how do you determine that? How does it
now?
Yeah, how does a person determine the regular increase
normally
versus data?
cities, we sell 2 million gallons of water a day. Okay, 40% of that, 50% of that probably is Van Buren's cost to run vector trucks and workers and stuff like that. All right, so if you take 2 million and now you're selling 4 million gallons a day, and our fixed costs don't change because they're right next to a 42-inch line, two 42-inch lines, by the way. So they've got unbelievable amount of water that's going through there. In fact, they've got more water than Northern Oakland County times two that they have access to. They're not using.
not
it,
using
they're
it.
used to.
Oh,
You're really clear. We're not using it. We have access
No,
to
they have
it.
access to.
okay.
So you'd think that it would go down. Well, sometimes the GLEWA will determine that this is your new load rate, so this is going to be your new price, which could raise your price. If that were to happen and they don't let them deselect from our group, then that could cause our water rates to go up. If our water rates go up and you agree to the PA 198, they have to pay it.
Right. Okay. So there is a mechanism in place to determine.
Yeah,
if-
that was
if
a
this-
surprise for us. We thought that it was
Thank you.
garbage, but it isn't.
Okay.
It can happen.
Okay, Commissioner Baydun, Commissioner Clemente, and then Commissioner Marecki. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this presentation. You know, just sitting here and listening to the discussion, the real estate broker for over 40 years, almost 40 years now. I've seen a lot of projects in my professional career, and it's always interesting to see projects come to communities. And we always ask the first question: how will this benefit the residents of that community, or how will it impact the lifestyle of these residents? You know, we always have these people trying to put car washes within neighborhoods. The first thing is, you know, how much is the decibel and how noisy it is, the drive-throughs. So all of these, I'm sure you've seen all of this. You know, it's a very detailed presentation, and I'm just wondering how it's going to affect the residents of Van Buren Township. You know, the biggest concern you hear about data center is the cost of the energy, the water. If all this is addressed, you know, I guess it's all up to the residents of Van Buren Township. They're not coming to Dearborn. It's not going to affect my residents. And what is the population of Van Buren Township?
32,000.
32,000. You know, from a real estate perspective, how will that affect the real estate market? Are people willing to move to Van Buren Township in 5-6 years now that they know there's a data center? I'm just asking all these questions, Mr. McNamara. You're very sharp, and
We've done studies, and I'm sure they'll say the same thing that they've done studies. We can't find anywhere in the country where it's lowered the price of the homes.
okay.
In fact, if anything, we just saw a documentary because we watch everything now on this stuff, where the prices actually went up, which was bad because what happens is all these workers that are coming there for 2 or 3 years, they buy up all the houses as they come on because they're living there for 2 or 3 years and they can't find rooms.
Mhm.
And then the hotel prices go up to $1,600 a month because, and they're living, you know, 4 guys making $150,000 a year sharing it because they got nowhere else to live. So I don't know what happens after that happens, but I do know that the initial thing is that the prices will go up. In fact, there's a house for sale right next to it, right next to their entrance for $170,000. I'm staring at going, I could rent that for 3 years for for $3,000.
Yeah, so like in Dearborn, we're blessed to have Ford Motor Company. They're the biggest taxpayer for our city. You know, if that is going to benefit the Van Buren Township, having the tax base increase. I mean, these are all questions for the residents of Van Buren Township, in my opinion, to answer. And you know, I mean, I'm open-minded. I'd like to read more about it and learn.
It was a unanimous vote of our board. There was 2 votes in the planning commission that did not agree, and their disagreement when we talked to our attorneys was an illegal disagreement. But yeah, we did vote unanimously for this.
Just one final question. I don't know, you probably covered it. Being a real estate broker, again, I know this affects the real property taxes, but what about the personal property taxes? Because those like equipments and the computers, they
That's
have
the gold mine.
they have
That is
tax
actually the gold mine. But the problem with personal property, as you know, the state has a tendency to give it back to the companies. So doing the PA 198 makes sense in getting our money up front.
So
typically in like a manufacturing, the property taxes on personal property would be very, very limited. But for a data center, they face full property taxes on their equipment. And so that's one of the reasons why we've worked out the PA 198. So The equipment depreciates pretty quickly because it's just like computer equipment. And so then it's refreshed. And so that's one of the reasons why the property taxes in year 6, I think it was, went back up, because there's brand new equipment facing new property taxes at the higher level because it's brand new.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Clemente Marecki, and then Commissioner Anderson will be the last person. Yeah. I mean, Marecki, I'm saying Clemente, Marecki, and Peterson Mayberry. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lot of my questions were answered, but I'm glad that we are talking about using our Wayne County businesses, our Wayne County workforce, our labor force. Super important to me. The one thing that I saw, we talked about the water in your agreement, but I didn't hear anything about the energy use in the agreement. Is there part of that P-188 that has a DTE or any other energy agreements there?
Yeah, so first off, we have representatives from DTE here as well, and they can talk, because I don't want to get over my skis here, but there are state laws, recently passed laws and regulations from the Public Service Commission and a contested case. So I do want to, if it's our, I don't, it's up to the chair. If you want DTE to address energy, there'd be much
Oh,
better.
absolutely. We definitely, because they're going to be part of the conversation as we do the community benefit.
Yes, so please,
Okay.
yes.
And Dan, you got to state your name and title for the record.
Happy to do so. Daniel Mahoney, Director of Policy and Regional Affairs for DT Energy. I'm here today fully supporting the project and the project team. DT participated fully in all of the aspects of the project that have been previously discussed, community engagement, particularly site plan approval, and of course, the adoption of the PA 198 agreement at the township board level. To answer your question directly, our utility rates, as you know, are regulated by the Michigan Public Service Commission. So they are outside of the PA 198 parameters, but there's significant governance over what we charge our new customer in the form of Google. Let me just give you a quick summary here. And if you have any questions or anybody needs clarifications, please let me know. We have currently before the Public Service Commission 4 separate agreements around powering the project in Van Buren Township. First and foremost is what's called a primary services agreement, or PSA. This is what documents the fact that we are offering Google what's considered our standard industrial rate, or D11 rate. That rate is what's considered a cost of service rate. Michigan's had cost of service rates for almost 100 years now, dating back to the 1930s. Cost of service rates are exactly as you would think they are. We are only allowed to charge a customer what it costs us to serve them. It is what embeds fairness and equity in all utility rates and avoids cost shifting between customer classes. This specific PSA includes a few key provisions. One in particular is an 80% minimum billing demand, meaning that the customer is on the hook for 80% of the costs, regardless of if they take service from DTE Electric over the life of the contract, right? That contract is a 20-year period, by the way. These are things that are embedded in the customer protections across all of these agreements. The second agreement we have before the commission is called the Clean Capacity Accelerator Agreement, or CCAA. This is what spells out the commitment that Google is making to both energy storage and renewable energy on behalf of the project. 480 megawatts of new energy storage will be built in the state of Michigan because of this project, and 1,600 megawatts of renewable energy will be built in the state of Michigan on behalf of this project. The 100% of the costs for both the storage and the renewables are borne by the customer, and this CCAA spells all that out, right? In addition, there's 2 other agreements, a demand response agreement where the customer, in this case, Google, agrees to reduce their load up to 650 megawatts during emergency situations. Let's say we have a situation like 2003 where the regional grid has a significant event. These would be one of the first customers called on to reduce their load, right? In addition to that, we have an Align extension agreement. This is what documents what was referred to as the ITC switching station and the costs associated with building that. That's a $50 million upgrade to our system that the customer will, again, 100% pay for. These are the 4 agreements that are before the Public Service Commission right now. It's been going through the contested case process with parties intervening, asking us questions, looking for clarification on details. We expect the commission to issue their final decision sometime later this year.
Okay, so as part of our evaluation, definitely going to want to see those studies as well as in particular the evaluations as far as the load and some of those other questions that the public always have on our end. So a lot of information you provided to the Public Service Commission and probably to the community. We definitely want to see those assurances should we take this matter up. Okay, Commissioner Clemente, are you finished?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you,
Could
Commissioner.
I just add one other dynamic, which wasn't part of the question, but I think is an important one, which is for DTE, these projects, whether the project in Saline Township that was referenced or this one in Van Buren, these are about improving reliability and passing on affordability to all of DTE's 2.3 million electric meters and the homes and businesses that are attached to those. So just to really simplify how this works for us, yes, data centers are going to create new sales for the electric utility, and those sales are going to create a lot of new revenue for the electric utility. But what we're going to do with that new revenue is pay for the improvements specifically to the distribution system.
Are you totally dependent on that? Because I want to also know as it relates to the grid upgrades, any grid upgrades now and in the future, will that always be covered by the data center, or will there be any costs that will be borne by the general rate payers? Because what we would like to hear on the front end that there's parameters and protections to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. So in addition to the cost of service rates I mentioned before, which protect against cost shifting between customer classes, the sales and use tax exemption that the state legislature adopted back in the end of 2024 includes, and this is one of the things that our state did differently than some of the other states like Virginia, which is embed in their sales and use tax exemption key provisions to protect existing customers. And so if a data center wants to apply and get awarded that sales and use tax exemption, they need to demonstrate to the MEDC strategic fund that they're taking a rate that pays 100% of the cost to the data center and zero cost to the existing customer.
Yeah, we did hear that. Heard that at SEMCOG, right?
Exactly, but it actually gets even better because what we will do is, as we continue to invest in the distribution system to reduce power outages and make it more resilient to extreme weather, we will take the new revenue we get from these deals and we will fund those projects and ideally avoid coming back to our existing customers to recover those costs in the form of higher rates, which is the standard process we've been using for the last 5 or 6 years. It's made a huge difference. This will change the game in a fundamental way for our customers.
Okay. So I'm going to go to Commissioner Marecki and then Commissioner Peterson-Mayberry.
Thank you. I just have one question and a comment. What is the timeline that you're looking for a resolution? Whoever.
Yeah, no question. Yesterday.
Yeah, ideally, we would have a resolution by the end of the month.
Okay, and I just have a comment. Many of us are involved in the National Association of Counties, and we go to their legislative gathering in Washington every year in February or March, and data centers were on the agenda, of course, this year. But in the administration that's in power at that point, a lot of their people come to our sessions. And one of them came from the Trump administration. And the biggest thing was they said, you need to work with these so your communities benefit this. Don't let anybody come in without totally benefiting your community. And this is what it sounds like, Kevin, you've worked with for a long time and very hard. When you only have 20 people showing up that are unhappy, that's pretty good. But I think this is a really good example of what they were talking about last March on make sure your community benefits for this. So I just want to make that comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Peterson Mayberry will be last to speak on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So several of my questions were asked and answered as well. I do have a question around oversight and annual reporting. So I don't know what that looks like for annual reporting to ensure that PA 198 is actually being fully implemented with the oversight. Are there annual reports that will be done and produced, and to where, and what's the cadence?
Yeah, their annual reports are done. They're done and submitted to Van Buren Township every year. There's also a set meeting where Van Buren Township meets with representatives from the company to understand what they've accomplished the year before and what their plans are for the upcoming year. So those are built into the PA 1.
Okay, I'm also going to note part of the community benefit on our end, human relations and some of the other aspects that'll be baked in as well as far as reporting as well. Because we also will have, yes, continue.
Okay, because that was
Commissioner, one other thing I'd like to add. The sales and use tax exemption certificate also has reporting that's required to the state.
Okay.
A lot of reporting.
And then, so the education piece, I'm glad that our unions are part of the conversation and that there is this working relationship. So building a pipeline through STEM and STEAM. So hopefully with the schools that we are building a bench of tomorrow's employees with the gear bag. I think I saw something about a gear bag scholarship and what that looks like. And so can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure, thank you. So that's something that we're really proud of. It's actually with a group called Trade Strong, which Panattoni is a contributor to that. It's a program where we sponsor bringing kids into getting more kids involved in the trades. So we can do that via apprenticeship scholarships, or more likely here, we outfit them with nice big $1,200 gear bags to get all set up to go into the trades.
Okay.
I can add
Yes.
real quickly. Every single place that Google had a data center that I call the school administrators. They love working with Google. Google more writes checks, but they do have a robotics team that goes out and goes all the middle school kids, and they get Tonka toy robotics, and they actually teach them how to build it and program it. And at the end of the day, they walk out with their own little robot. They have Teacher of the Year in Virginia, where they used to put a plaque in the wall for the Teacher of the Year. Now the Teacher of the Year, thanks to Google, gets 10 days all inclusive in Cabo.
Wow. My times have changed. And then the last question, I know we talked about emissions. Are there any hazardous materials that will be on site? And if so, how are we disposing of those?
No, the materials that are on site are the same kind of cooling material you have in your air conditioning units and things like that. That's actually one of the advantages of this versus some other type of facility or manufacturing. And then we have so no, other than we have glycol because you're running air conditioning units, but you have that in your car.
Yeah.
You have that, right? So nothing extraordinary there. And then one of the other important pieces with that is that as it runs through the air conditioning, one of the things we have on there are dampeners. So literally we will have water that is the evaporative water is cleaner than drinking water. It's at 99.9999% purity. I had to make sure I counted right. So it's 6 nines of purity. When you look at drinking water, it's like 4 nines or 3 nines. So it's actually more pure than that. And then we've also worked with Shuva in regards, and the ironic thing with Shuva in regards to our sewer is that our water is too clean and actually messes up the membranes down there. So you actually have to concentrate it to get it dirtier. So it's one of the big misconceptions. We're like, well, we don't want any forever chemicals. And we're like, okay. Fantastic. Neither do we. So we're already there. So we worked really closely with Shuva as well on the sewage component.
Okay.
In Ohio, we asked the same question. They don't even have a discharge permit at a data center that's way larger than ours because they have so little contaminants in the water. They don't meet the threshold.
Wow.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'm going to take the privilege and recognize the last person is Commissioner Martha G. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding that educational piece, is that just for Van Buren Township or is that for countywide?
So right now, like I'm saying, so we're getting into the area with the community benefits. So there's going to be a lot of discussion around that piece there. So they negotiated Van Buren Township's interest. So anything they speak to right now should be relevant to Van Buren Township. So we need to, if we go beyond that.
With Van Buren Schools, which includes Canton, Sumter, and Belleville. We're a large school district.
Okay,
Right.
I'm concerned because the county has to sign off.
Oh, no, we're gonna,
So
that's,
that's why I'm asking
Okay.
these questions.
okay.
They'd have to work, they'd have to work, you'd have to put that.
We
in
have to
here.
work with that on our end, yeah. Okay, yeah, so,
We gotta make our own.
so so with,
Your
so-
Wayne County residents are covered, but not all of them yet.
So with that, I want to thank you all for joining us on this afternoon. And we look forward to having continued conversations. And thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Next item. Okay, one moment. Okay.
Chairperson, would it be as rude if we left?
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. You're
Okay.
okay to leave. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, yeah, yeah, okay. We'll wait till they all exit. Okay, okay. So, oh, okay, you can proceed.
We're moving to new business item 1, communication dated communication from Eric Sabri, Treasurer, reporting the third quarter investment report for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Are there any questions as relates to this item? Any questions? Could please step. Okay, but yeah, you can go ahead and give your presentation.
Good morning or good afternoon. For the third quarter fiscal year 2026-27, we earned 53.3 million in general
Can you
fund.
take your
interest.
name and title,
Yep,
please?
John Kravitz from the Treasurer's Office,
Thank you.
and 1.3 million in reserve interest for a total of 54.
Your actual title. Yeah,
I'm the investment manager.
yeah, thank you.
Yes.
For the record, yeah.
For a total of 54.6 million for the 9 months. Annualized, we're on track for a $70+ million interest earnings for fiscal year 26-27. Approximately 80% of our portfolio is in obligations of the U.S. Treasury, so U.S. Treasury notes, bonds, and agencies, and about 10% in local bank CDs and 10% in money market funds. We have 1.7 billion in general fund dollars under management and 48 million in reserve fund, and our average return is just over 4.15%.
Okay, any questions? Any questions? Well, thank you, as always. Yeah, thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item number 2, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2026-35079, certifying revenue and the county park fund.
Okay, who's here to speak to this?
Hi, Erica Smith on Zoom. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can barely hear you.
Okay, I'll talk really loud. Good afternoon. This is Erica Smith, DPS Parks Division Director. This
Yes.
item, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. You can.
Okay. This item is to certify a budget adjustment for a grant that we received of $50,000 from the Community Preservation, or I think it's Community Foundation. And this is to update the Lower Rouge River Greenway plan.
Okay, any questions on this item? Any questions? But thank you.
Okay.
Next.
Thank you.
All right.
Next item, item number 3, fiscal year 2026-2027 budget presentation. We have the Economic Development Department.
Okay. 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 I see the director. Can someone let him know? Yep, he's on. Yep. Okay. Huh? On the way? Okay, hold on. We're gonna do it at the end. Take it at the end. Yep. No one can see it. We're gonna take them at the end. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, yes. Yeah, we're here. We have one. Yeah. Okay, see, no, go ahead. You can go ahead. We have. Okay, there we go. Okay, so good afternoon. And welcome to the budget hearing for the Economic Development Department. We have in front of us the recommended budget from the county executive. And first of all, we would like for you to go into some of the successes and projects and initiatives from the current year and some of the goals for the upcoming year. And just want to make sure that you have enough resources or funds to operate in the next fiscal year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not for the exciting part of the day, right?
Right. State your name and title. Yep.
Anthony Cartwright, Economic Development Director for the department. You guys, thank you, honorable body. You guys have a slideshow in front of you that's pretty much up on the screen also. So we'll go through that, and hopefully I won't take too much of your time. First two slides are pretty much overview of the department. As a director, I've always challenged my team when we think about economic development for Wayne County to think about more than just business attraction, but to think about how we can enhance the quality of life for our residents and strengthen our economic vitality throughout our 43 communities in Wayne County. We can do that by investing in people, businesses, neighborhoods, housing, infrastructure, and redevelopment opportunities that create long-term community, economic, and sustainable prosperity. The Economic Development Department consists of 4 primary divisions: economic vitality, community development, sustainability and innovation, and the Wayne County Land Bank. Together, these divisions integrate businesses development, housing, workforce development, sustainability, brownfield redevelopment, land reuse, community revitalization, and infrastructure planning into one coordinated strategy serving all 43 communities throughout Wayne County. Our goal is straightforward. Every dollar we administer should help create jobs, strengthen neighborhoods, expand the tax base, leverage additional investments, and ultimately improve the quality of life for all of our Wayne County residents. Next slide. The next slide talks about the first division I'm going to speak about, which is our Economic Vitality Division. The Economic Vitality Division is the department's primary business development, investment, workforce, and strategic project management arm. Its mission is to grow businesses, create jobs, support entrepreneurs, attract investment, strengthen the workforce, and manage major economic development initiatives throughout the county. The division also oversees business growth and retention, our Wayne League Workforce Development Program, Wayne County Talent Pipeline, Small Business Support, Wayne County Housing Commission, Grant Administration and Compliance, Transit Initiatives, and other strategic projects that we're called upon to do. Our small business work focuses on entrepreneurship, technical assistance, access to capital, and strengthening connections among organizations already serving small business throughout the county. Our Housing Commission is focused on increasing affordable and workforce housing while supporting neighborhood revitalization. This division also administers and monitors major county investments funded through ARPA and SLURF, the Community and Business Impact Initiative, EPA funding, the U.S. Department of Transportation and funding, and several other funding sources. Business traction and expansion continue to be important parts of this work. For example, Kern Industrial Services is developing approximately 100,000 square feet in Taylor, representing another $14 million investment, and that creates jobs and opportunities. Another is planned Stellantis Mopar Mega Hub in Van Buren Township that represents approximately 2 million square feet of real estate, a $338 million capital investment, and approximately nearly 500 jobs. These projects demonstrate the scale of private investment that our economic development ecosystems help support throughout Wayne County. Next slide. This slide provides a snapshot of the broader economic vitality impact. Just here, we got 15 projects that are highlighted, that we chose to highlight, that represent more than $78 million in county investments that help support and leverage almost $677 million in total investment and impact to the county. Our workforce initiatives have provided training to approximately 3,400 participants, helping residents prepare for higher paying in-demand occupations. The common thread among these programs is leverage. Economic development is not a one-size-fits-all, but different communities come together that require different solutions. One project may address housing, another may focus on workforce development, another may focus on recreation, environmental remediation, infrastructure, or business attraction. But collectively, these investments strengthen Wayne County's overall economic competitiveness. Another example is something I just visited not too long ago, is the Mary Parker Renaissance Hope Initiative, and that's on Detroit West Side. Beautiful, beautiful project. This initiative represents more than the construction of one or two facilities. It is a part of a broader neighborhood transformation strategy that incorporates housing, recreation, health and wellness, education, vacant property activation, youth development, and economic opportunity. What is particularly important about this initiative is how the vision was developed. Residents, youth, community organizations, churches, schools, and planning professionals participate in creating a shared vision for our neighborhood. This was truly a collaborative effort. Mary Park itself will become a nonprofit recreational campus providing expanded youth program and safe gathering spaces for families. Projects like this demonstrate an important principle behind economic development strategy. The strongest economic development is a community-driven one that creates conditions for additional private and neighborhood investment. When communities become safer, healthier, more attractive, and better connected, property values can stabilize and increase businesses to become more willing to invest in families that have additional reasons to remain, to stay and grow their own neighborhoods. We use county resources to attract additional capital, support organizations, remove barriers, and create employment opportunities, and generate long-term economic value. Next slide, please. So this slide is about something that's near and dear to you guys' hearts, is the Community and Business Impact Initiative. Economic Vitality is also responsible for administering the current 45 active projects totaling about a little over almost $1.9 million in approved funding through the Commission Community and Impact Initiative. To date, organizations have submitted approximately 882,000 invoices, and approximately 817,000 of that have been paid. Projects are at various stages of implementation, ranging from contract development and initial payment requests to partial disbursement and full completion. Several projects have now received their full approved allocation and are moving into project closeout phase, while others have received partial payments and continue to submit invoices and activities to protect milestones that are completed. Staff continue to work directly with organizations that have outstanding documentation, invoices, amendments, and other requirements necessary to advance payment and project completion. Overall, approximately 44% of the total approved funding has been dispersed, with approximately $1 million remaining to be paid in the projects that we're trying to get towards completion. Just want to send a thank you to the commission staff, and everybody for their patience with those projects, and to our corporation counsel for allowing us to circumvent or change the rules, whereas these organizations can get paid retroactively in advance on those particular projects. So that took a lot of changing, a lot of hard work, but I think now it's smooth sailing. When I first came in, I think it was a little chaos. So we're good on that now. Next slide. Some other highlights of economic vitality is in 2026, economic vitality is managing 132 projects representing more than $214 million in county investment, with 56 projects expected to close out by the end of the year. Thus, looking ahead in 2027, this division will continue to oversee at least 77 active projects representing approximately $64 million of county investment, while advancing projects through implementation, compliance, financial oversight, and successful closeouts. Economic Vitality's priorities include improving coordination among small businesses, service providers, strengthening business attraction and retention efforts, expanding workforce partnerships, establishing stronger affordable housing partnerships, securing additional brownfield resources, expanding public-private partnerships, advancing our transit planning, strengthening regional collaboration, and continuing to improve grant management, project monitoring, and compliance. Our objective is not simply to manage projects, it's to build an economic development system which our tools can work together and work more effectively. Next slide. Our next division I'm going to speak about is our sustainability division. The Sustainability and Innovation Division focuses on strengthening collaboration, improving county operations, supporting municipalities, and preparing Wayne County for long-term infrastructure and economic challenges. Its work is organized around three core principles and objectives. First, strengthen partnerships. We do that through our Wayne 4 program. We are expanding collaboration amongst county departments, community partners in all 43 governments while providing technical assistance related to infrastructure, flood mitigation, energy resilience, and community revitalization. Next, promoting fiscal prudence and responsibility. The division is developing a countywide facility strategy, improving how we monitor facility operations and energy costs, identifying opportunities to reduce long-term expenses, supporting fleet modernization, and identifying new sources of outside funding. Third, advancing resilience. This includes a countywide planning related to flooding, energy reliability, emergency preparedness, and infrastructure vulnerability while expanding tools such as Wayne County Development Atlas and the county's network of resilience hubs that this honorable body approved a couple of months ago. During the first year of Wayne Forward, the division convened 8 in-person sessions, communities throughout Wayne County, and engaged more than 150 participants. Most importantly, 40 of the Wayne County's 43 governments participate in the program at least once. So 40 out of 43 showed up to the meeting at least once. The program addressed issues that municipalities consistently tell us that are priorities: flood risk, stormwater management, power outages, energy resilience, electric vehicle infrastructure, extreme heat, air quality, municipal energy and water management, and data center research and education. The program has also connected our communities with technical expertise from partners including Floodwise, Michigan Green Communities, and the Detroit 2030 District, the University of Michigan, EGLE, and Michigan Infrastructure Office, Just Air, and other regional and national organizations. The response has been very, very positive. A survey was done and all the respondents indicated that they will return to this event, so it's been a very good positive event. Next slide. Additional accomplishments include development of Wayne County Facilities Mapping Tool, expansion of the Wayne County Development Atlas, work on Resilient Facilities Action Plan, and completion of the Climate Risk Assessment for county facilities. This division also coordinated the Wayne County Housing Summit, which was a highly successful event, which brought together more than 200 representatives from communities and organizations throughout the county. I did think I saw a couple of you guys there also. Looking ahead, our priorities are to expand the Wayne Forward program, strengthen resilience and infrastructure planning, improve county facilities operation, identify opportunities for greater energy efficiency, expand technical assistance in municipalities, and continue positioning the county to compete for federal, state, philanthropic, and private infrastructure resources. Next slide. Oh, and the last, the community development, the sustainability division did see that Gold Star, they received the Gold Star Green Energy Award, was awarded to the Wayne County through the Sustainability Innovation Division. All right. Next slide. We're going to talk about the next division we'll speak about is community development. Community development division administers several major federal programs that directly affect housing, neighborhoods, public facilities, homelessness, and quality of life throughout Wayne County. The Community Development Block Grant Program, or CDBG, is known as, administers approximately $5.5 million annually received from HUD. These resources support public facility improvements, senior services, code enforcement, housing repairs for seniors and residents with disabilities, affordable housing, blight removal, fair housing and services for survivors of domestic violence. Current investments include approximately $5.4 million in public safe facility projects, $2.3 million in home repairs, $1.5 million in affordable housing, in addition to our senior services, code enforcement, demolition, and fair housing activities. The Home Investment Partnership Program provides approximately 10.5 million over multiple years for affordable housing and home ownership. The Emergency Solutions Grant, or ESG, provides approximately $470,000 annually, matched dollar for dollar by participating providers for homelessness prevention, outreach, shelter operation, and related services, including to support the Wayne County Family Center. We also will be administering approximately $70 million in CDBG disaster recovery funds associated with the 2023 flooding. That program is currently in the pre-spend and HUD compliance phase. Once those requirements are completed, funding will support housing, infrastructure, planning resiliency, and other eligible disaster recovery activities. This funding will also assist in interdivisional and interdepartmental collaboration. The scale of this program creates both major opportunity for significant compliance and responsibility, which is why strengthening HUD compliance and improving project delivery remains a major department priority. Next slide. Some of the highlights of Community Development 2026, Community Development Division managed 56 projects totaling $13.5 million in investment. Here are a couple of my favorite highlights from this. Groundbreaker we had a couple of days ago was the Southgate Miracle League adaptive baseball field, demonstrating another side of economic and community development. I know I saw Commissioner Clemente there. It reduces the amount of travel for many downriver families while creating a regional destination that can serve residents throughout Wayne County. It also demonstrates the value of partnership by bringing together national organizations, nonprofits, local government, school district, and community stakeholders. Projects like this promote inclusion. They support families, they encourage volunteerism, they improve recreational opportunities, and they just make the neighborhood feel good. They also remind us that, once again, economic development cannot be measured exclusively by buildings, businesses, or just simply tax-based growth. It must be measured by whether residents have equitable access to opportunities and whether investments make communities stronger places to live. Looking ahead in 2027, community development continues to advance the development of dozens of affordable and permanent supportive housing units across Wayne County through partnerships with the state of Michigan, local communities, and private sector investments. Next slide. And then the final division, last but not least, something of course you guys know is near dear to my heart, is the Wayne County Land Bank. The Wayne County Land Bank plays a critical role in neighborhood stabilization and revitalization. The land bank acquires, manages, and returns vacant properties back to productive use. Core responsibilities of the land bank include property acquisition and property disposition, land assembly, redevelopment support, affordable housing, and blight elimination. As you guys know, the land bank is currently administering a $7.5 million blight elimination contract, and that is almost done with ARPA funding, demolishing about 140 parcels. Next slide. This year, the land bank has disposed of 56 properties, acquired 30 properties, demolished 81 dangerous structures, rehabilitated 26 owner-occupied homes, continued affordable housing rehab programs, and we are in process of acquiring another 52 properties from the treasurer, which we should have in the next couple of weeks. These activities improve neighborhoods, increase the tax base, and eliminate blight. Next slide. Our operating model is intentionally designed to maximize outside resources and minimize the burden to the county's general fund. The Wayne County Land Bank is self-supported through its own revenue and program funding. Community development is fairly funded through HUD and other federal grant resources. The county's general fund primarily supports, in our department, economic vitality and sustainability and innovation, because of many countywide initiatives managed by those divisions that cannot be funded through restricted federal grant programs. Those general fund resources primarily support personnel and administrative infrastructure necessary to manage more than 200 plus active economic development projects, workforce, housing, brownfield, business development, community investment, sustainability, and redevelopment projects programs throughout our 43 Wayne County communities. Our largest administrative costs are personnel, county-wide chargebacks for services such as finance, human resources, information technology, corporation counsel, procurement facilities, and management and budget, and specialized contractual professional services necessary to administer these complex programs that the department handles. The total fiscal year 2027 recommended budget for the department is approximately $57.9 million. Of the approximately $57.9 million of this budget, $49 million will be supported by federal and state funding. Admin costs from general fund is only approximately $5.4 million. Fiscal year 27 recommended budget continues to maximize federal and state resources while limiting reliance on the county's general fund. Every general fund dollar provides staffing, financial controls, compliance oversight, project management, and administrative infrastructure necessary to leverage significantly larger outside investments. Next slide. Okay, no worries. You guys got it in your hands. See, that's why we use backup plans. EDD currently supports 37 budgeted positions, which currently 13 of them are vacant, including 16 FTEs in economic vitality and sustainability, 12 FTEs in community development, and 9 FTEs in the land bank. While the department operates with relatively modest administrative budget and staffing structure, these resources provide the capacity to oversee hundreds of millions of dollars of public investments, grants, contract, and redevelopment initiatives, leverage significant external funding, and deliver transformative economic and community development projects benefiting residents, businesses throughout all of our Wayne County communities. Next slide is the critical hires. Out of those positions, we just determined a couple of them were critical hires. Even while remaining fiscally disciplined, we must have sufficient organizational capacity to manage these programs effectively. Several positions remain critical priorities in the department, including leadership and technical positions across economic vitality, community development, sustainability, and innovation, and the land bank, which is kind of why I got 4 jobs right now. But they strengthen the financial programming oversight, reduce organizational risk, improve service to our municipalities and partners, ensure that we have professional capacity necessary to manage increasingly complex federal, state, and county investments. Our goal is to build organizational capacity necessary to manage the resources already entrusted to us while continue to compete successfully for an additional investment. And the last slide for you guys. Looking ahead, EDD will remain focused on strengthening organizational capacity, maximizing the impact of county investment. Key priorities include filling critical leadership positions, successfully completing the ARPA-funded investment and closing out ARPA, managing community impact initiative projects, expanding affordable housing, and growing the Wayne Forward program. We want to do all of this while strengthening compliance, monitoring contracts, improving our internal processes, and administering federal and state grants. The department will also pursue sustainable long-term funding, improvements to county facilities, greater vendor diversity and collaboration, while maintaining strong fiscal stewardship and accountability across its programs and investments. The recommended budget provides resources necessary to continue strengthening our communities, supporting businesses, expanding housing opportunities, improving public infrastructure, leveraging outside funding, and positioning Wayne County for long-term economic success. Every project we manage, every grant we administer, every partnership we build, and every collaboration we are a part of is ultimately about improving the best possible quality of life for our residents. On behalf of the Wayne County Economic Development Department, my community development director, Bessie Palazzola, my sustainability innovation director, Aaron Kelly, and my and my economic vitality director, Lucius Anthony. I appreciate your continued support. Thank you, and I would happy to answer any questions at this time.
Well, thank you for your presentation, and you have been excellent in your role and since assuming the responsibilities. And I just want to thank you on your transparency, but more so your communication with and access to the commission. With that, I'd like to ask, are there any additional questions? Any additional questions? Well, thank you.
Just one.
Okay, Commissioner Baker McCormick. and then Commissioner Scott.
Quickly, I won't keep us. A list of the properties that are owned by Wayne County. I see the land bank properties, but can we get a copy of those properties?
For the land bank or the?
No, no, no.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so
for
there's two
Wayne
different.
County.
Okay, so those are two different entities. The properties owned by Wayne County.
Facilities management.
Yeah.
Right,
The
right.
properties on outside the land bank are owned by they're managed and owned by facilities management.
Right. So, but you don't work with them in any way for any.
I mean, of course we collaborate.
Separate
Yeah, but it's separate properties.
Okay,
My
I
old
just
job.
wanted
My
to
old job.
clarify if we can get a list.
But
And-
I mean, I can try to work on. I can.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted a list. We have the land bank property, so I was thinking about. One other question. What did I do with it? Okay, I'll ask it offline.
Oh, yeah. You know what? We did create the development atlas with the map on it for sustainability and innovation. That was part of the housing summit that we did.
Okay,
And if you go to that, you can see the Wayne County properties on there.
okay, all right. Oh, and by the way, what do you guys think of the Google data center?
So that is
it-
something.
Don't want to talk about
I
it?
have no.
I know you have a thought about it, but we'll talk offline. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott. Commissioner Scott, then Commissioner Clemente. Yeah.
Thank you. Like my whole city is in here.
Yeah. I think you control about 80% of the land bank properties.
So I just want to thank you for all that you're doing in Highland Park and have done, because it is just great. It is renewing our city again.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Yeah. And I do have good news for you, Commissioner Scott. We did finally get DTE to give us that clearance for the Highland Towers yesterday.
Very
So
good.
that should be coming down pretty soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Clemente.
Mr. Chair, I have no questions. Thank you very much, Economic Development. I'd like to make a motion for item number 1, receive and file, and item number 2 to approve.
It's been moved and supported. It's been supported, Commissioner Marecki. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? These actions stand approved. Next item that we have to go.
We're moving to item D, unfinished business. Requesting commission approval of the recommended 2-year comprehensive executive budget and appropriations for.
Motion to, thank you all. Motion to pass for the day, the budget.
Motion to pass.
Moved by Clemente, supported by Marecki. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item,
Item F, such other matters as may properly.
I know of none. Next item.
Item G, public comment.
At this time, I would like to ask for you to, unmute individuals joining us virtually. And I would like to ask those individuals, if you would like to address this committee, to please raise your hand. Please raise your hand, those who are joining us virtually. Thank you. I'd like to ask if there's anyone present in the room who would like to speak. Please, fill out a card. No card, just come up here, come up to the lectern. Up to the table. Up to the table, yep. Thank you. And you'll have two minutes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Wanted to introduce myself to the commission. My name is Chris Girdwood. I'm with the Detroit Region Aerotropolis. I work with the airport communities, specifically Taylor, Romulus, Huron Township, and Van Buren Township. I've been at Aerotropolis for 7 years now, working directly with the Wayne County Economic Development team. And just wanted to share my strong support of the data center project. I started working with Panattoni 4 years ago on the acquisition of that property. And then specifically with the client 2 years ago, I was present at all the public meetings in Van Buren Township in support of the supervisor and his team. And so it's very rare in economic development to have a Fortune 5 company like Google asked to call your county home. And so working with Walbridge too, best in class developer in Panattoni, it's just it's something in economic development that you see maybe every other decade. And so the project's just so important to us and wanted to share that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, please state your name and your title. Yep.
Justin Robin. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Justin Robinson, President and CEO of the Detroit Regional Partnership. We're the 11 county regions economic development agency. We're honored to have Executive Evans on our board, as well as Executives Coulter, Hackle, and Mayor Sheffield. And I bring that up because while our mission is to track the next generation of companies, jobs, and technology into this region, we do that in close collaboration with our government partners to understand your priorities, right, and help ensure the investment we're helping bring into this community aligns to your goals. And so, as Chris shared, obviously this is a transformational project and a very unique project, clearly in an industry that's new for all of us. And I think all the questions that have risen in the local process, Chris brought up that, but will also, may come up in your discussions and deliberations. We're welcome the opportunity to engage and support. We have a full-time research team and a lot of resources about kind of what is the state of data centers, what's happening out there, the different types of companies and technologies, but ultimately how communities are really managing the process locally to their benefit. And so I want to make that team and myself available to you in that regard. One thing I'll note is over the last, we were formed in 2020 formally. So we've helped 150 companies select Southeast Michigan to expand here. And that totals almost 40,000 new jobs and $8 billion in investment. And I bring that up because 80% of those projects have been industrial in nature, right? Engineering, manufacturing, R&D. Only one of those so far has been a data center in this project, right? So as I said, it's new for all of us. But I think really importantly, we treat every project as its own unique thing. And as you look at this, I encourage you to do the same. And what I mean by that is, does the site make sense, right? Is it zoned properly? Is it serviced properly by infrastructure? In this case, it certainly is. Is there a qualified developer involved who can execute, right, at the scale and speed and cost, right, and the commitments made, promises made to the local community? In this case, you have Panattoni, who, as I said, built 600 million square feet across the country. We actually helped attract them to this site, not knowing it may become a data center, to put this back into productive use. Importantly, Wallbridge came on board as the constructor, right? I mean, it was mentioned today. They've built these across the country. They are experts. They obviously know Michigan. They're headquartered here in Detroit. And lastly, ultimately, the end user is the person that's going to occupy this building going to be able to do what they say they're going to do. And I think Google has a very good track record of that. And so, want to make our service available to you guys along the way.
But thank you. Thank you for attending and joining us in this long day, long meeting. Okay. Next item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, been moved by Baker McCormick, supported by Commissioner Clemente. All those in favor signify by saying aye.